You are creators. Creators are always looking forward into what is becoming, not backward or downward into what is. When you are driving your vehicle, hopefully you're looking where you're going, not where you've been and not where you are. You don't have those mirrors. They would make you sick if you had them. They'll look right down at the road, right where you are. Think about that. You wouldn't want to go very fast into those conditions, would you? You're just looking right down at where you are. You want to look forward to where you're going. And we want you to understand that as you become forward looking, and by forward looking we mean as you become one who looks in the direction not only of that which you want, but hear this, looks in the direction of that which the larger part of you has already become. Did you hear that? Can you hear the importance of your step one part of this process? Contrast causes you to ask and source the inner being that is you, the God within you, the all that isness, collects the data of the best of life. Now we want to ask you a question. When you know what you don't want, when you see someone rude, when you see a mass murder, when you see some abhorrent experience, when you see something that you really, really, really know that you don't want, when you see people suffering, when you see people encouraging suffering, when you see those things you don't want to see, whether it's humans or animals or earth, when you see something you don't want to see, do you understand that in that moment you offer an equal and a commensurate and exactly equal, proportionate request that is exactly on the other side of what you don't want? In other words, when you're really sick, you really ask for wellness. If you're sort of sick, you sort of ask for wellness. If you're sort of confused, you sort of ask for clarity. If you're really confused, you really ask for clarity. In other words, your request is always proportionate to what you are allowing yourself to live. And for that reason, in this time of greatest diversity, which is a good thing, not a bad thing, as you are mixing it up with one another, you are asking massively. And as you don't allow yourself as individuals to go in the direction of what you're asking for, it just causes you to ask harder and stronger and more often. So that the requests that this time-space reality are sending forth into the vibrational escrow of mass consciousness is bigger and faster and more than it has ever been before. This stream is moving fast, and the answering to what you're asking for is happening in greater abundance than ever before. This pool of abundance that you have requested is at its all-time high and getting greater in every day, which means your propensity for thriving is greater than it has ever been. Your propensity for suffering is greater than it has ever been also. Because it's always equal. In other words, when who you have become is more and you don't let yourself become it, you don't feel so good. Fortunately, as individuals, you don't have to wait for everybody to figure it out before you have the ease of alignment. You get to individually go with the flow of that which you have become, and when you do, you come into alignment with who you are. So step one is you ask. Step two is source answers. Step three is you got to find some way somehow to become a vibrational match to what you've been asking for. Otherwise, you don't get what you've been asking for, but that's not the worst part of it. It's not that you just don't get what you want. It's that you don't be who you are. That's the thing that makes you feel negative emotion. You don't feel negative emotion because you're depriving yourself, and you are depriving yourself because nobody else could ever deprive you of anything. But you don't feel negative emotion because you have deprived yourself of the lover you want, or of the car you want, of the resources you want. You are feeling negative emotion because you are depriving yourself of the state of being that you are. You are secure. And when you feel insecure, there's some depriving going on. And it's not us, it's you doing it. When you are angry, you are depriving yourself because who you really are is one who loves. When you do not have enough of something wanted, it is you who is depriving yourself. But what you are wanting is alignment more than the stuff you think you want. Now, we want you to want all that stuff. We want you because you're out here in the leading edge. Someone said yesterday, well, not so sure that this stuff I want is really as spiritual as I want to be. And we say, this stuff out here on the leading edge is the extension of what spirit is. There is nothing that is not spiritual about your materialism because you are the extension of source energy. But there is a physical aspect of you that is out of sync with the spirit that is you. Just as there are physical aspects of you that are in sync with the spirit that is you. So it is not materialism that is tripping you up. It is having asked for that which Source has endorsed and become, and then holding yourself in vibrational opposition to it that makes you begin to write books about the inappropriateness of wanting material things. There isn't anything that you want that is material that you want for any other reason than that you believe you would feel better in the having of it. So this is just our way, and we are thrilled at the aha moment you just had. This is just our way of reminding you that often you are looking for love in all the wrong places. In other words, you're looking for the purchase to make you feel better, or the love of another to make you feel better, or the accolades from the public to make you feel better. When all along, what you want and need in order to feel better is to find vibrational alignment with the point of view that Source has about the same subject that you are focused upon. That's what you're looking for. You want to see the world through the eyes of the expanded Source. Now hear this. The expanded Source who has just newly expanded because of you. That's why you're so hooked into it. That's why it feels so personal. It is personal. You caused Source to expand, and when you don't take the expansion, you take it personal. You feel empty. You feel void. Those are too strong of words. You feel disconnected. Still too strong. You feel resistant. Better word. You feel resistant to the becoming that life has caused you and us to become. So here's another way of looking at it. You came forth willing and wanting to explore contrast in order to add to the expansion of the universe. We stand in non-physical, eagerly experiencing the expansion that you have carved out and steadily holding focus upon it and living it as a done deal, shining a light on your request and calling you toward it forevermore, knowing that at your time of absence of resistance, you too will reap the benefit of your request, knowing that as masses, you put requests in that sometimes your generation doesn't allow yourself to live, because you're too busy factioning off in liberal or conservative battlefields and pushing against one or the other and using each other and what each other wants as your excuse to deprive yourself of the very thing that your collaboration caused you to ask for. But no worries. Source, all that is, took the expansion. And it is from that vantage point that new generations are born who will be born with less resistance. And while you'll leave monuments to your resistance all over your planet, you will leave monuments and books and all kinds of information for the new ones to read, and you'll do your best to remind them how awful it really is, so that they will forget their God-given joy that they came forth with. Even though you try very, very, very hard, the natural process of the recycling of experience causes every generation to be less resistant than the last. So you, in your generations, you are setting forth very much in this vibrational escrow. We're going to call this the vortex of creation. You have contributed massively to this vortex that will benefit generations to come. And so this gathering, this conversation is not about needing to do anything to fix anything, because whether you are consciously aware of it or not, you are source energy. And whether you are consciously aware of it or not, you are vibrational beings. And whether you are consciously aware of it or not, while you are here in your physical bodies, you are simultaneously source energy. Bigger, more of you, source energy than physically focused. And whether you are aware of it or not, the contrast that you live causes you to expand the universe. And whether you are aware of it or not, the larger part of you takes the expansion and holds it steady and revels in the good work that you have done. And whether you know it or not, well-being abounds and always will. So this workshop is not about fixing any of that, because that's all percolating along just fine in your awareness or ignorance of it. What this gathering is about is that we don't think you should have to croak and be part of the next generation before you reap the benefit of what you have asked for. We think that you should be able to ask and receive now. We think that you should get to be the creator that you came forth to be, that life should inspire you to the new idea, and that with very little struggle, you should then be able to quite effectively then turn your attention toward the new idea and no longer justify by beating the drum of why you are asking for the new idea. Just ask, and it is given, and let it be. And we are confident that as you ask and launch a rocket of desire that you are in the beginning not a vibrational match to, that with a little bit of effort, far less than it takes you to learn a computer program, with a little bit of effort, you can turn your attention toward this new desire that you have carved out of your life experience. And as you do that, as you turn your attention toward it and familiarize yourself with the feeling of the success of that request, and let that vibration of this satisfied request be your dominant chronic offering, that it then in very short order must manifest. Because when you remove the resistance from this vibrational equation, when you remove the contradictory vibration to the desires that you have fostered, those desires have to manifest in full form for you and all to see. But then we know that even though you have manifested your desire, you now, oh, and it is such a good thing, stand in a whole new place, a whole new platform with a whole new set of contrasting experiences, which are going to cause you again to know more specifically, more clearly what you don't want, which is going to cause you to ask for what you do want. And we know that you have the ability, now you've asked with clarity, to turn and give your undivided attention to what you are now asking for, no longer beating the drum of your validation or justification or excuse for asking. You see, you don't need any validation. When you ask, it is given. Now some say, Abraham, what about those guys that I'm pretty sure are going to ask for bad things? If they ask for bad things, will it end up in the vibrational escrow? Will it go to this vortex? And we say, first of all, you got to stop killing each other over who gets to decide what the good things are. In other words, you have a great amount of diversity in what you are asking for. And the assumption that you're the only one that is right is really an erroneous and not good for you assumption. But let's say that most everybody agrees that this one particular really extra special effects heinous act is really not something wanted. And let's say this person is smiling while he's doing it. And people say, look at him, he likes doing that. He likes dropping those bombs on those villages, or he likes taking his gun into that business office and gunning everyone down. And we say, no one ever in a state of alignment offers anything like that. When you have brought yourself into this vortex of creation that is the culmination of who you are, and when you align to it from inside that vortex where only love and well-being abound, you are not in that guarded, resistant, protective modality that makes you then erroneously believe the impossible thing that you can push away what you don't want and make it go away. This universe is a universe that is based upon attraction. Law of attraction is the manager of all of these vibrational frequencies. There is no exclusion in this universe. So when you see something not wanted and you shout no at it, you're not saying no to it, you're saying yes to it. You're saying, come to me, this thing I do not want, because in your attention to it, you are activating the vibration of it. And when you activate the vibration of what you do not want, you prevent yourself from going to the vibration of what you do want. Can you hear that? There's not a stream of badness or a stream of heinousness. There's not a stream of evil. There's not a stream of darkness. You don't walk into a room and look for a dark switch. Flip the switch and inky, misty darkness comes down and covers up the light. There's not any of that. You can resist this light, and you can resist well-being, and you can resist wellness, and you can resist goodness, and you can resist clarity, and you can resist abundance. You can resist all things wanted, but you are the one resisting it by giving your attention to the unwanted and making the unwanted so active in your vibration that it prevents you from getting into the vortex where everything that you want is. Pretty clear.